matches in the house. And my mother beat the earth, wind, and the fire out of me. And I blamed it on my sister. I'm in 327 in first grade. My sister in the fifth. I blamed it on my sister. I said my sister hit me. They called my sister down.
And she did cold
and she did. She was like, I said, my sister hit me. She said, Jennifer, you cannot be beating on your brother like that. And she looked at me. She was like,
oh, you lucky. You saved mama.
She fucked me up after we left out and didn't take me to McDonald's because I had a McDonald's addiction as a child.
You saved she saved mama though.
Yeah,
like
this is why she's still bullying your ass to this day.
Yeah.
Your ass about to tell, but I'm gonna tell her. I told her my sister would tell me YouTube, so she's gonna listen to my best friend Crystal. This is the first time I never remember her name. Crystal, whatever. My best friend lived on the street. She always messing with her. You know, so I took her and her.
We on live already, just to let y'all know. We already on live.
Oh, we live.
S.STREET Media is already live.
I took her, my best friend, and her uncle to my grandmother's house. I wanted to tell my grandmother that my sister was bothering my best friend. Right. Okay, and her grandmother said,
let's try your microphones.
Michelle, what's wrong with your sister? Why does she keep bothering Crystal? So I said, I don't know.
1 2 1 2.
You know, I said, I'll take care of it. So right away, me saving the day, you know, making everything right. I said, well, come on, I'm gonna take you to my grandmother. And my grandmother was the type of grandmother that before we came home from school at 3 o'clock, dinner was done.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's what grandmother used to say.
So we came in and I'm like, yeah, you know, grandma, blah, 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 you know, this was going on. My grandmother stood there with her hand on her hip to the side. She listening to the man, right? And she gave me this look. And I said, oh, I'm in trouble. She said, yeah, I'll take care of it. You know, I know Tina could be a bit much or whatever, you know, but I'll take care of it. Don't worry about it, you know. Soon as they left that house, my grandmother gave me a tongue lashing that I will never forget. She said, don't you ever bring nobody in here, any of your siblings, and tell them no to bring them to my house for me to chastise my kids. I got the memo, but I was still confused because before that, you know, I was taught to, you know, when you see something wrong, you know, you
say something.
Say something.
That's what they say now.
They didn't say that your family, you know what I mean? You know, I thought this was like a universal thing, not, you know, based on or, you know.
My mother really drilled that type of shit into my head, like, what the fuck staying in? My mother was mean. My mother's a gangster. She's like, yo, whatever goes on in this house, stays in this house. Don't talk to me out through outside through the window. Don't ask me no question from outside at the window. Make sure you. That's like the rules are so stringent.
Right, and there was so many.
Yeah, and like some new ones will come up right on the fly, made up ones on the fly.
Yeah, because you know it was like, you know, we couldn't be around grown folks or in their conversations at that time, you know.
It was a different time. Respect was definitely a very important thing in those times. Respect.
And that's what I think is missing now. This is why we don't have that stronghold on our youth, our children at this point where they have these attitudes, you know, the way they converse with us and just how they express themselves, you know, it's just like.
I think that they don't have a fear of God. Or what God is, or rather you say it's a mythology or an ideology, because I was beat going into church Sunday. I had to go to church. I stopped going to church when I got into high school. I had to go to church every Friday for choir practice, and I had to go to church on Sunday regardless of what my mother was doing in the house. You're going to church.
And me as well. You know,
I think one of the, I think that communication is the thing that's lost the most because we rely on devices for so much. So I think that what's the missing thing in this society is interaction. I think when you take away interaction, that's church, that's playing outside,
Mhm.
So I think there's no interaction.
Right.
I think when interaction made us respect other people. I think like when you was from different neighborhoods and you was in PAL, you got to meet people from all different neighborhoods,
Mhm.
but you still met them in person.
Right.
So even when you got older and you didn't know these, like, you separated and maybe drama came. It was a little bit different about pulling a trigger on a nigga that you was in 8th grade with it, you know what I mean? Like, it was more interaction. Now I think these people don't know each other. Nobody knows each other. I think it's real easy for me to just walk somewhere. I mean, a kid that walks to another neighborhood and just pull a trigger because there was no interaction.
Mhm. Let me tell you, in my day, I had to go to 150, 284, and 263 to get free lunch. I used to hit all three. That's why I'm chubby now.
You hated them? It doesn't look like it.
I do too.
I ate all three free lunches, and it's like their kids is not experiencing that going over into the projects.
Or going to another neighborhood.
Going into another neighborhood because it's just the times, just the social interaction just changed.
It's not even the social interaction, it's the territorial
bullshit
stigma that they put on, they don't own anything. No one owns anything, but they seem to have made a zoning map for where one can go according to where they're from.
Let me give you an example. For a person to go, the only time people interact with each other now is negative on social media, right? And again, these people don't know each other. It's just words on a screen, man, like typed in, and they're killed over that. They're like, death comes behind that, and they don't even exist in the real world. You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy to me. Like, we in an ultra sensitive society. Like, everybody's in their own bubble. Right. Everybody's in their own bubble. So if you pop somebody's bubble or brush against somebody's bubble, the reaction is almost extreme sometimes because people are
taking them out of their environment. Their environment. Does anyone remember? This is one of my favorite movies. Does anyone remember Demolition Man?
Yes.
Yeah.
I've always said this is how we're going to be. That's one of the only movies, sci-fi, that I believe that we would get to that point. Now, if you remember Sandra Bullock, and Sylvester Stallone with the jingles, things like that, and they were having sexual relations by putting on.
Oh, that's a great movie.
Like putting on. You understand what I'm saying? With Wesley Snipes, there was so many actors in that movie, but it was a concept that is actually playing out now.
There's another movie like that with Bruce Willis. It was him and his wife, and they wasn't getting along. And like they was in these machines, like he was living life in his
like
machine.
A pod.
Yeah,
and it was a pod.
And the wife was and like in real life, they was like really old, getting deteriorating, and But like,
and another one was also Elysium. So that was Matt Damon.
No,
check that out. Okay. Elysium. Yeah, that one is really far fetched.
So you ready?
Let's go.
I thought we were on already.
Oh, we are on live. We are on live.
Thanks for coming, Michelle.
Oh, definitely. This has been a long time coming. I think maybe
this is basically behind the scenes of Black Raspberry Radio.
Yeah.
That was
uncut and unfiltered.
That was a good conversation to have outside of the show. All right, God.
1, 2, 1, 2.
No, I got it on mute. We're starting. I'm pushing. The warning sign is up. The S.STREET Media sign is up. The countdown is happening when the hand claps. Remember when they had
I'm
clouds.
gonna talk. Hello, people. We are back by public demand. This is the Black Raspberry Radio Show, and I am your host, Lorenzo Andrews, and I have my special guest, the lovely Michelle Bostic. Brownsville is definitely in the house from all corners of the universe, and I'm so glad that my childhood friend, one who I've seen, what year we in? We in year 2023, and I met and came across Miss Bostic in 1980. And it's sad that a lot of people haven't even lived that long. In all hoods, from Brownsville to Compton.
But we're here.
But we're here, and Miss Bostic, let the people know who you are.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Michelle Bostic, and I am born and raised in Brownsville. Also did a stint in Iowa for about 4 or 5 years, but that's another story. But I am currently working at a nonprofit in Bedford-Stuyvesant, the community outreach manager. Do a lot of things. My main focus is human services. I'm currently taking classes at the Community School of Professional Studies to broaden my knowledge, gain degrees so that I can help my community to the best of my ability. I am here with my friend, I like to call him Mr. Drew.
Yes.
To spread some love
Yes.
in New York City.
Because she told me, she said, Negro, stop being down and be uplifted.
Yeah, come on now, let's get it together. We all have a time to, mourn and things like that.
Yes.
But you have to keep moving because we have a purpose in life.
Yes, because the earth is going to keep going around that sun 360 degrees.
And let me tell you, when you get older, it moves faster.
Yes.
Okay, it moves fast.
And Miss Bostic, I want to go off the subject, but they said that the what you call that clock? The clock.
The doomsday clock?
Not the doomsday clock.
What, the eternal clock?
One of those clocks, they said that the time comes sped up about point such and such.
And this is why we think that things go by so fast.
Yes.
It has a meaning.
Yes.
A lot of people don't know about
something like Marvel Comics, like the Time Stone. Something
Well,
like
I
that.
don't know about that, but okay.
So what is it that you do with your CBO, your community?
I do a lot. Just to give you some background, I started there, maybe we'll make it 4 years. I started there as a temp with Summer Youth Employment. They got this big contract, one of the first nonprofit African American led organizations in Bedford-Stuyvesant that received the SYEP contract. So they needed someone to come and, do the processing and intake forms and things like that.
Right.
I happen to be working in Brownsville at 444, which is the historic building, and actually tearing it down now to make something better.
Yeah.
But I work with Central Brooklyn Economic Development Corporation. LaShawn Muhammad Allen is the executive director.
Yes.
And also Barry Cooper, who has a little bro experience, he was working with her. They do a lot of work together. So I was doing work there, and as I always do, when I do a job, I do it well.
Right.
So they were watching me. That's why I always tell people, you never know who's watching you, your skills and things like that. So when the opportunity came and there was a need for someone to fill this position, they recommended me.
Right.
I didn't even know, anything about it, or that I even had the wherewithal to, take on this challenge.
Right.
They pushed me. I went for the interview. I got called back for the second interview. Lo and behold, I'm like, why didn't they call me back? Because I know I'm the front runner for this position.
Right.
So lo and behold, they called me back.
Okay.
Hence, that was a success. I stayed on permanently. I got a promotion to program assistant. Did well with that. Then I moved up to community outreach coordinator. And I am now community outreach manager.
Okay.
So I do a lot of things: youth workforce, senior services, housing information, community outreach. I work with a lot of politicians within the neighborhood.
Do you just work with economics? What about like mental illness? Any mental illness?
Well, I am a staunch advocate for mental illness. Mayor Adams is talking a lot about bringing some programs, funding,
right,
and just bringing it to the forefront because it's much needed. So we are focusing on that now. I am trying to pilot a program for our organization with mental health because in our neighborhoods,
yes,
it's a necessity. I think, and I always say this, everyone has at least 2 people in their family or someone that they know that suffers from mental illness. Now, there's always been a misnomer about mental illness. They label it as you're crazy. Okay. I always say the brain is an organ just like any other organ.
Right.
Okay. And sometimes it doesn't work right.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and there's things that you can do to help it.
Right.
You know.
Do you think medication is always, because the doctors always like to prescribe medication? Let's just say that if someone goes into a mental illness hospital and the doctor prescribes the medication, do you think medication is always the means
I can't
to a
really,
chemical imbalance?
As I am not, versed in things like that, but I do know from being a human being,
right?
And myself having mental health issues within my family,
right?
Every person is different.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? There's different types of mental illness.
Right.
You got anything from depression, anxiety, manic depression, schizophrenia,
right.
Personality disorder, borderline personality disorder. So you can't just use one.
And don't forget the Brownsville favorite, the post-traumatic stress.
Oh, that's not a Brownsville favorite. That is reality.
Yes.
But let me tell you something. I have PTSD because I was in 9/11. My birthday is September 10th. I worked for the state for 18 years.
So you was in the buildings when the plane
crashed. I didn't come
crashed.
home until the next day.
Right.
Okay, so and I still have issues with that.
Right,
you understand
right.
what I'm saying? So post-traumatic stress disorder is not anything to be dangled around just to give you a label.
Right.
Okay, everyone has their own. You look at the veterans, the service people or members that go to war or anything like that. Everybody has their own type of PTSD.
Right.
What I do notice though, that in urban environment, they like to use labels without really knowing what they really mean. They just use it as a band-aid.
Right.
To label any kind of, situation. Hence, that's why we have issues with the NYPD when they don't know how to deal with people who are
mentally ill.
Right. Everybody wants to put a label on it and make it a one-stop shop.
Can I just, just insinuate, not to cut you off. I'm sorry, ma'am. You said that you was inside the World Trade when the planes hit?
Or no, I was not. No, I was not. I worked at 25 Beach Street, Bowling Green. Okay. Okay. Like I said, my birthday was September 10th. I was running to get to work. I was kind of late time or whatever, but thank God that my weakness saved my life.
Right.
I'm late because I was running to get to work. I had just got paid that day. Right. That was payday. Mm-hmm. And also I was just 3 days away from my 2-week vacation and also 3 days away from hitting my first promotion.
Right.
Okay, so I'm thinking everything is good. And lo and behold, to me, I saw someone when I got off the train from Brownsville. She saw me running. She said, "I don't know what you running for. The plane, I said, girl, get out of here, bye. I was going to my job,
And it was havoc down there.
And it was happening. It was havoc. You understand what I'm saying? So, post-traumatic stress disorder is real.
Yes.
You understand what I'm saying? I didn't know if I was going to survive.
Right.
I am not Catholic nor Christian. I'm Baptist, but I sure did stuff against that wall in that cellar in that building and did this.
Right.
And Hail Mary and I asked them to save my children.
That's right.
You understand what I'm saying? Because it sounds like you all remember Godzilla, right? Remember Godzilla, the Blob. Remember the Blob?
Ooh.
When I saw that plume of gray smoke coming down narrow William Street.
That's right.
Okay? And I saw this lady running and her hips were going from side to side and that smoke was behind her. All I could think of was the Blob. Taking over the buildings.
I can dig it. I'm visioning that.
So I told my coworkers, let's run. We have to get out of here.
This is 9/11 people when this happened. Go ahead.
So fast forward, I got off that bridge because it was swaying and all the smoke was coming.
All the people
on the bridge, and then you have the helicopters. So I'm thinking kamikaze. They coming back. They gonna shoot the whole bridge down. Mm-hmm. I can swim, but all these motherfuckers on me and shit, they gonna bring me down. In the water. So I said, I'm getting off. My coworkers followed us, and we got the next thing going out of there, which was the boats that go to Jersey. Right. Where the heliport
and
is.
The Staten Island ferry too.
Yeah, I'm right there. Right there. So we got out of there and didn't come home until the next day. Now, all the money in the world I had, I said, don't worry about it. When we get to Jersey, I'll pay a cab to come on home. We take the whole cab.
A lot of money, I bet it was.
Man, that National Guard. That National Guard was standing there with that little,
That's
that,
right.
not little, that big
With
gun,
the
and he said,
M16.
"Ma'am, you need to think about where you're gonna sleep tonight instead of trying to get home because there is no way out of here."
Right.
That's when
It hit. The reality set in.
I said, "What?
Wow.
I got paid today, y'all. My
Right.
kids is waiting for me. You know what I mean? We do stuff for a payday. You know,
Yes.
whatever." So, and I say all of that to say, people need to really focus on their own mental and emotional health and
Right.
stop trying to label.
Right. It's crazy that you said that. It was this episode of Oz that I seen some years ago, and it was an old Caucasian man that's set up in there for almost all his life, and he said that I thought I was speaking to God, but I was speaking to the power of my own reasoning. And I'm like, wow, I'm in my 5% mode. I'm like, wow. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm listening to the power. It was so profound, like you said, but it's like, wow, am I speaking to God? Am I speaking to the power of my own reasoning? And I concluded, you know what? I'm speaking to both. I am definitely speaking to both. Brownsville. What are your thoughts of Brownsville? I know that you told me, like, Lorenzo, let's go a little further into this interview before we touch it.
Yeah,
let's jump into it.
I knew you was going to just throw me in there. But I have a lot of feelings about Brownsville.
Right.
From my youth up until this day.
Right.
You know, that's why I want this to be 2, 3, 4-part series. Because it's
4,
not
5,
just
6, 7
minutes.
parts.
I have
It's a lot of
tell.
goddamn stories to talk about.
Yeah, and my truths. You know,
And
not
your
just stories, my truth. You
Right.
understand what I'm saying? So Brownsville, to me, you know, I'm loyal to a fault, you know. And that's where I was born and raised. That's where I've learned a lot, you know, about life,
Right.
you know, social economics, you know, social disadvantages,
Right.
Just social communication.
Right.
Brownsville in itself is a place.
Right. A place of.
And you fill in the blanks, whatever you want to, but make sure it's just positive.
Right.
You know, because I don't look at Brownsville as a negative place because that's where I'm from.
Right.
If anyone to this day says something negative about Brownsville, I stand up for my neighborhood and I will debate and give you some facts about the good about Brownsville.
Right.
You know,
will Brownsville become better if it become quote unquote East Williamsburg, as they say now, with the gentrification? Because we're seeing that buildings are being erected.
No,
will it change?
No. That's Brownsville should be a landmark, as far as I'm concerned.
It should a landmark be of
historical landmarks. Since they want to always put us as a red dot on the map. Okay,
yes.
Can we get our just due? Since you want to keep doing that to us, I mean that's okay.
Let me throw this at you. What is the just due that you could give the Brownsville? I'm just want to play the devil's advocate with you, man.
You know, the just due is just our longevity.
Right.
You know,
for those that are still alive.
Still there. Right. You know, even if they're even not in Brownsville, you know, right. Brownsville has brought about good people, you know.
Right.
I noticed that they tend to focus on Brownsville in a negative light all the time.
Right.
If you look at the history of Brownsville, if you take the time to really read about the history of Brownsville, like institutions like the BRC,
right.
The Brownsville Heritage House, that library is right there. So much heritage, you know.
Right.
The PAL, we were just talking about that. The PAL in Howard, you know.
Right.
There's a lot of rich resources that come in the Brownsville. Even like I said, 444 Hopkinson, they are finally tearing that building down. But I remember going there in summer camp. Right. You understand what I'm saying? My daughters had classes and courses there. You understand what I'm saying? My 360 is that's why I'm where I am now at my job. You know, because of 444. People focus too much on the negative. Right.
You know what? You just gave me the good, but give me the I always say Brownsville is the good, the bad, and the ugly. I'm playing devil's advocate, ma'am.
So you're asking me something. Okay, the unity.
Give me some ugly.
There's no unity. There's no unity, you know.
We just covered the subject. Do you think social media has brought upon no unity, because my fat self used to, when my mother was hustling numbers, this is before the New York State lottery came, and my mother was a number runner, and she said, Negro, you better go get you some lunch. I'm like, Mommy, I'm hungry. She said, nigga, not Negro, nigga, you better go get you some lunch. So I'm like, you know what? 263 opens up at 11:30. If I could get there at 11:30, swab it up, 1 to 150, cut through Brownsville, no, to 284, swab it up, and then run over there near Cephalo to 150. And
You
get
got
some
full,
more. So I was filled up until Mama come back from hustling.
Right. So
Do
that
you
was okay.
Do you think like the social media has divided and conquered?
In that
I'm from this side, you from that side, I'm from that side, I'm from up the hill, I'm from the plaza, I'm from here, I'm from here, I'm from there.
Well, let me just tell you about me with social media.
Yes,
I'm not really into it.
Okay.
My friends have told me I had the most boring social media page ever. Because I don't focus on Brownsville or any particular area. What I post is for everybody.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? I don't put myself in a box. I don't you never see me. I can't twerk. Anyway, but you never see, doing things like that or showing my food or posting my food, because I feel like my content, I have a purpose to give more. Right. I'm posting jobs. Okay, I'm posting OSHA courses that you get paid $100 for. Right. Okay, I'm posting security, scholarships and things like that. Right. That's what I do. Right.
To each his own, because everybody wants to be entertained in his own way, because it's like I post a lot, and maybe because I'm a communication major by trade, that's why I
content creator, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm not. I just want to get information. I like resources. I'm resourceful. I like to refer you to things. I work with the state. Like I work for all municipalities. I actually work for Federal Small Business Administration. Right. I work for the city. 2 organizations: the Board of Health. Right. One thing, and I also work for the Office of Health and Mental Health and Hygiene. Right. And I also work for the Department of Insurance, and now known as the Department of Financial Services. So we regulate banks, ATMs and things like that.
Because you know how y'all banks are. Y'all have low income housing, and then all of a sudden y'all go bankrupt and y'all want to sell the mortgages at a high price. I seen that on Good Day New York this morning.
But that's a fact. But that's what we do. There has to be regulation. And just like with culture and environments, we were just talking about this, with this chaos, with this no routine. Right. There's chaos, so you have to have structure.
Gotta have order, as they say.
Order, Without order, there's chaos. Exactly. Right. There has to be rules to follow.
Don't be so
and
strict.
This is what is going on now. To answer your question and what he said, there is no accountability. Right. There is no structure. Right. In routine, like you said, we went to church every Sunday.
Right. You know what?
We had to go on the church bus.
We I mean, even if you didn't go to what was that? Yogi Bear. I didn't get a chance to go to Yogi Bear, but my mother used to beat me.
You got a lot of beatings.
I got a lot of beatings. You got to go to church on Sunday, and it was that structure that was given. I had to go to church on Fridays. And I had to go to church on Sundays. Fridays was choir rehearsal, and Sundays was church. You got to go to church up until I got to the age of 14, and then it stopped, and I kind of swayed my own way with my own beliefs, and mother like you don't want to go to church, but I kept that structure, that order. And the fear of my mother whooping my ass till this day, and I'm 50 years old.
And this is what is missing now. Yeah. That's when they brought in, can't whip the children. You talking about ACS, BCW at the time, can't whip the child, You know what I mean? So they unruly, uncontrollable, can't whip them or whatever. So now you got the child running around, not listening to you. Also, going back, he was saying, the fact that you and I went to church and things like that, that was teaching us structure. Right. Routine, standards, morals, values, principles. Right.
You just can't go up and just do anything but wild to anybody.
And like teaching you to respect your elders. Right. You hear now these kids is cursing and everything in front of anybody.
Let me tell you, Michelle, Miss Bostic, and I'm gonna go back to a time in the 80s, the sheepskins. And I'm 50. My sisters.
I'm 50 as well.
My sisters got me by. One got me by 6 years. One got me by 7 years. And when they were 15, they were grown. It's like as if a 15-year-old in our times was already in their
an
20s.
adult, because we know how to cook.
Right.
We know how to do the laundry.
Right.
We were taught that stuff, and the formative years is what's important, and we should be grateful that we were allowed that.
Right.
You know, that's what's missing. The formative year is 0. It's usually 0 to 7.
Right.
In human services sociology, but if you don't have that, that's the foundation.
Right. I just think that ACS. I think that with a couple of kids getting killed. Because my mother almost killed me a couple of times from like playing with matches in the house.
Oh, really?
They got beat. And like I just said that when I was going to 327 at the time, 1980, 1981, I was playing with matches at the time, and I blamed it on my sister. And my sister beat me up after we got out of school. But like it was said, she saved mom. But I just think that now the kids are too much kids now. They're not so much adult.
Because they don't listen. They don't listen. They do not listen.
Right.
I have a 90-year-old.
Right.
My 34-year-old and my 26-year-old, they don't play with me.
Right.
Because they know.
Right.
They listen. But the 90-year-old.
Right. It's going to challenge you.
Is?
Right. Does, yeah.
I'm like, what happened? I'm looking at myself like, where did I go wrong? You know, what is this? You know? Don't she know who I am? Right. You know, and her sisters, you know, they get mad at me because one of them
ain't
said,
whooping that ass.
If that was me,
you would have
had slapped and you know, and I think it's kind of like a little resentment between them two and her.
Yeah.
You know, but she don't care.
But you know what? That's how it was also with my sisters. Like, this nigga don't even take out the garbage, man. He don't know how to put up the blinds, man.
Mm-hmm.
Why you let
me
at that time? I know how to put up blinds now. But at that time,
why your sister used to always beat him.
And I mean, you know what? I just took a trip down south, to check on my mom's, her well-being, because she got tired of Brownsville. It's like, I'm getting the hell out of here. I done seen enough people die. And if I do die, you bring my body back to Brownsville over there on Cooper Street and bury next to grandma.
Mm-hmm.
But my sister bullied me. And I'm 50 and she's 56. And it's like, you know what? I just fall back. It's like, you know what?
And that's a good thing that you said, because even back then, we were taught to respect our elders, even that was our siblings.
Right.
You know, because your sister probably took care of you when your mother was at work.
Yes, she did when she was hustling.
Well, whatever she was doing.
Right.
Okay, you're going to stop talking about mama. Okay?
Dear
she's
mama,
70 and still,
right.
Okay, so we ain't going to do that.
Right.
But she made a way. She paved the way for you guys. You know, you're still benefiting from that to this day. So let's not take that, let's not negate that fact. And that's what's important. And I respect the fact that you still have that respect for your older sister, because that's how we were raised and how it was before. You know, it's lineage.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Hold on, let me fill this one in with my sister. This is a quick story, and this is a 327 story, because this person truthfully is from 10 and I was doing the wrong thing. I don't know how I got enticed, being with the wrong crowd and selling crack cocaine on the street. So the word got around that I was selling crack cocaine, and not too far from the steps of my mother's porch. And this stick-up kid came there with a Mac 11 and was going to stick me up. And my sister walks outside. And I'm just y'all know my sister Jennifer. She's the chick that still got the 5 gold fronts in her mouth from all the way back from 1982. You and me the one day. And she said, what's wrong? I said, Jennifer, I think that guy across the street is going to rob me. She was like, yo, I used to beat him up in 327.
In your nerd boy voice.
And in my nerd boy voice. I said, Jennifer, I think that he's going to rob me.
Yeah.
He's going to rob me. She was like, I used to beat him up. I was in the 4th. I used to beat him up in the 4th, 5th, and the 6th grade at 327. Because after my sister left 327, she went to IS-55 with the rest of the bad kids. So it kind of blended on in, and she fitted the mold, and she went over there and let him know, yo, that's my little brother over there. He hugged and kissed my sister. He was like, all right, Jennifer.
And that's a good segue into what I'm about to say. Brownsville. A lot of people. You never know who knows.
You never know who knows.
You never know who you're messing with.
Yeah.
You know? If only that opportunity was allowed to so many other people that your sister was able to do for you at that time with that guy with that Mac 11. You know that stuff, that sprays, right? You don't need no Mac 11 for you. Depends on how many lunches you ate. But, you know, come on. See how they coiled it?
Yes.
And this is where the social communication
That's
comes
right.
in.
And we touched that. That's right.
Okay.
Because if it was social media, I don't think that she could have went on Facebook and said, that's my little brother. It wouldn't have happened in time. He would have tore my ass up.
So you thank your sister, and that's why she's still on your ass.
Yes, she
today
do.
Because she saved you.
Yes.
And then she said, "You got the nerve, you scared of this little punk ass motherfucker that I've been whipping his ass the whole time, and he gonna do this to my
little brother."
But karma,
yeah,
karma. You know what I'm saying,
Miss Bostic? I gotta jump into this right quick. So when we went down south, I want to share this to y'all, to you people that follow S.STREET Media. When we was down south in South Carolina, you know that you can't smoke marijuana down south. And we in a hotel. And we're blazing, fucking with my man. He comes and visit me. Excuse my French. Comes and visit me. Yo, I got this L, but I think we should smoke in the car.
But he knew that.
He knew that.
He from there.
We went inside the hotel and he had that loud. I mean, it was loud. And it was a clip. And it was all out in the hallway. Housekeeping knocked on the door. The housekeeping. I'm like, yes. I just opened the door. I don't know no better. Open the door. They're like, you have to get out. You have to get out. You have to get out. I think the guy downstairs was going to call the cops. But the one thing I made sure, while my sister was at the hospital seeing my mother, I made sure I grabbed up all her clothes. And I
forgot about yours?
No, I grabbed mine too, but I made sure I grabbed my sister's, and I went and got a better hotel with better food that was in the morning, and she was still pissed. I'm like, Jennifer, please don't be mad.
You're still doing the same.
You're still doing the same thing, and you're not a little kid, huh?
And they get tired of telling you over and over, like, when you gonna learn? You know, when am I gonna have to stop saving you?
Yeah.
Okay, you portray this, you do that, you do so many things. You're very intelligent. You have a lot of things going for you. You have goals and dreams for yourself. You're stuck, let it go.
Yeah.
You know, you have to.
Miss Bostic, it's funny that you said that. You know, my friend came over and said, Lorenzo, let go what's not here.
And what's not for you.
Yeah.
Stop trying to hold on and make everything right for everybody else. Focus on yourself.
Right.
That's why you and I bonded, unfortunately, after we lost someone.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? You've been trying to get me here for well over how many years?
I think since 2018 when we first got here.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And I got the pictures and the emails and the texts. Him and rest in peace, Seiko. Is trying to get me. I was like, nah, I'm not doing that. Y'all talking about all this stuff. My job, you know, I can't be doing that, you know. Hiding behind, you know, my job. But I am a part of Brownsville, and I do have a lot to say.
Right.
You understand? Because a lot of people got something to say about me.
Right.
So I'm going to make this split up.
Let me say, did you go to free lunch as a child?
I sure did.
Well, who had the best free lunch there?
327.
327. Okay.
Yeah. 327 and 284 is
right. Where the swimming pool was at. We all had to go to that swimming pool.
Let me tell you, I was in 320. I was in 284. My brother,
right,
that you said you went to school with,
right,
and my sister,
first grade,
and my god brother, they got me kicked out of 284.
Wow, what happened?
They were just acting up, doing Brownsville shit.
Right.
You know, doing Brownsville shit in first, second grade.
Right.
Okay. I'm like, what the hell happened? This fool got a fool.
That would have been like 1981, 1982.
Yeah, I was born in 72.
Right.
You know, do math. Okay, whatever. So, my grandma said, okay, we got to go over here.
Right.
I said, okay, let's go to this school. Best thing ever.
Right.
For me. You know, everything in my life that I've always said, no, I don't want to do it. And then I'm going to have to say, okay, like that inner self, you said, speak to yourself.
Right. The power of your own reasoning.
Wound up to be the best thing for me. I went to 327 was accelerated, was put into gifted and talented
Class.
classes.
I never made it to that class.
I was in 3GT,
Right.
4GT, and then we was the other one, the higher one.
Right.
I was in that one time, but I wasn't good enough, so they
Right.
put me back there. It was okay, because I tried. I had to, you know, I wasn't ready. And this is why a lot of my positions at my job right now that I've had, they've been thrown at me.
Right.
You know, I was offered the deputy director position. I wasn't ready.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Are you ready now?
No, because I didn't get the title, but I did get the money.
Okay.
You know, and I purposely failed, which I did before. I told you about the story of me going to the gifted and talented test, all these Asians and Caucasians in this school. I'm like, if I pass this test,
right,
I have to go to school with these kids, and I don't know them, and they're gonna put me on a bus, you know, and Brownsville getting on a yellow bus, you know, special bus. It was a gifted and talented bus, but because of what was going around, and you know, I purposely failed. You know, my teacher was upset with me. My godmother was upset with me. I was upset with me, but I was happy because I wasn't ready.
Right.
You know, I say for me, everything in due time.
Right.
And I step on each rung of the ladder.
Right.
Like Nipsey Hussle said, everyone wants to get to the top, but no one wants to take the steps to get there.
Right.
I got the. My ladder is sturdy and long. I got the one that, you know how you could, how you do the ladder where it could go up. Extended ladder. I done passed it. I'm on the fire truck ladder where you got the thing and the shit move around. Right. You know what I'm saying? With the automatic stuff, there's nothing manual for me because I built that foundation for myself. Right. You understand what I'm saying? And I haven't taken any shortcuts.
Right. A lot of people love taking shortcuts to life. No. The shortcut is usually a long way.
The shortcut
sometimes
it's not a long way, it's a waste of time.
Right.
It's a waste of time because it's like building a house. You're gonna put you know how they do the foundation and stuff, you want that nice deep basement down there, right? You're gonna have your little man cave or whatever, you know. So you gotta have that. Because I lived in Iowa also. Right. That's another story. But you want to build deep, right? You know, because you want it to last
like
long.
A bunker.
You want it to be a bunker, exactly. So houses and stuff and things like that. You got these collapses and things like that. But then when you right, okay, hence my insurance. Right. Service. You have to spend money on insurance, so it's a liability. It's not an asset. You know, you're building upon unsturdy ground.
Like, are you building a tall building?
Crazy ass shack.
Right.
Okay, you want to live in just to look like you got something.
Right. Right.
You know, like Joni Mitchell said, they give you paint you paradise, give you paradise, tell you about paradise and paint up a parking lot. Right. You know. They give you all these thoughts of grandeur and these great things and sell you something, but then all they paint you when you get there, like an Airbnb, right. It ain't what you saw. Right. You know.
I noticed there's a lot of Airbnbs down in Brownsville. I'm noticing that I've seen a lot of Midwesterners. I see a lot of Jews now on my block smoking cigarettes. Because they live in.
Well, you think they Jews, they don't smoke cigarettes?
No, not that. They're coming on my block to smoke cigarettes. That's what I'm noticing.
Well, I would look at that as a good thing because your property value will go up.
Right. That's true.
You got to think about it like that. Stop thinking about people coming in and just when they come in, your value of your house go up.
Right. And the taxes though too.
Well, you know what?
Yeah, I know. Just paying.
You got equity and all that stuff, escrow and all that stuff.
Right.
Okay.
She's speaking in her insurance.
You're so quick to think about the negative things that can happen from an outcome. You know, we got solutions, we have outcomes, you know. Right. It's always going to be problems. It's always going to be adversity. Right. And life is, come on, get with it. Stop thinking everything's going to be easy. That's what everybody wants. Easy stuff. Right. And they want to talk about change subject when you don't want to devalue it. Now you want to devalue it, right?
Can we get a hand?
You going into something so easy? It wasn't worth nothing. Huh? That's the easy sale, right?
She sounded like a grandmother from '84.
So why you going after it then? You just want, You know, so what's that say about you?
Right. Sometimes man's emotions.
Fuck emotions.
Okay.
Okay, don't even get that excuse. Don't try to dumb down now.
Right.
Okay, don't.
No, I'm just saying, man. Like sometimes a man emotions, you know.
So why you gonna blame it on the woman? Because your emotions is all running the foul.
Right.
And then who you gonna look for
Right.
to fix it or to quell it?
Right.
Okay, like I said, you can't do it by yourself.
Right.
So what's good for the goose is good for the gander.
Yeah.
You know, it takes two to tango. I mean, you could do it by yourself.
Right.
You know.
So what does it take to be a strong woman then? Let me
I can't be yourself. Know yourself. Take time with yourself. Know you.
Okay.
You ain't. I'm not a twin.
Right.
I was born by myself.
Right.
I don't owe anybody anything but my mother and my father because they're the ones who bore me.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? And I owe myself. You understand what I'm saying? The decisions I make it. I've never been forced to do anything that I didn't want to do. I don't do anything that I don't want to do, especially at this age.
Right.
I worked for the state for 18 years, and I did that because my daughter's father and his best friend made me take the civil service
test.
beginning entry test. I scored 100 on all the tests. I was number 6 on the waiting list.
Right.
Okay.
Easy hire.
Easy.
Right.
And I blew that interview out. And
right.
sky was the limit because I know what I want. I always knew what I wanted to do since I was little.
Right.
You know, I have goals. Still have goals, and I'm reaching them. You know, there's been setbacks, you know, but I don't let that hold me back. Right. You know, because with adversity it makes you stronger. Right. You know what I'm saying? So just love you.
Right.
Love you, and no one owes anyone anything.
You know, sometimes is it hard to love you? I mean,
that's a good question. No. That is a very good question.
You?
Sometimes I'm really difficult, and I like to be difficult because, unbeknownst to the world, I am not easy. I'm really difficult. And I like it because it gets it stops like the riffraff and
right.
You know, all the naysayers and the ones that don't mean. Right. You know what I'm saying? So if you think
those opinions that don't
if
count.
you think I'm difficult or I don't get it,
I'm not down.
I'm not doing it. I don't know what fucking way you're doing it or how it's supposed to be done because I don't follow the crowd. I do it based on my morals, my standards, my values, my respect, and what I've been raised on. I was raised in a very good household, unbeknownst to my mom and my dad are still married, although they're not together, but they never.
Do you think that's old school? It's my mother calling.
Hi, Mom. Do I think?
Mom, I'm doing the show right now. I can't talk.
Okay.
All right, I'll call you back.
Do I think that?
No, mom and dad. Let's talk about mom and dad. Do you think mom and dad? It's that old school that they still stay married.
They ain't stayed married because you know they in love.
Right.
You know they stayed married because that was
old school.
No. Okay. That was what they did. They had a bond.
Okay.
They married based on marriage. How can I say it? The constraints of marriage. I don't want to say constraints because that's a bind. But based on the values of marriage. You understand what I'm saying? I still have their pictures when they were married, you know, with their wedding. My mother was pregnant with my brother. Right. You understand what I'm saying? They tried to get it together again, you know, but didn't work. But they still have a respect for one another, you know.
Right.
They still love one another, you know. But they have a bond. Right now, in this day and age, when people get married, it's based off of convenience.
Right.
You know,
financial convenience.
Financial, you know, and just things like that. It's not really love.
Right. Do you think maybe the music held them together as crazy as I'm sounding? Because I don't want to talk about hip hop. And Barry White voice.
Barry White voice. That's not even so. You try to get me.
And it's crazy. You know what? Because I had told Miss Bostic. I said, "Ma'am, she did a rendition of Anita Baker's "Been So Long," and I'm not gonna put her on the spot right now. And I mean, she sung the hell out of the song, and it was like, truthfully, Miss Basta, it was like one of the greatest musical things that I have ever seen in my life. You know, me coming from the Russell Simmons and the Suge Knight and the Andre Harrell, and me wanting to be this big manager. And I was like, yo, if I was in an alternate universe, I would have signed you to a record contract right then and there, because you sang the hell out of Anita Baker's Been So Long. And I want to, like we talk about mom and dad, and they're still bonded, and the music. That music out of the 70s, the music that we were in our mama's to Marvin Gaye, and to Al Green, and to Barry White, and Teddy Pendergrass,
and so many others.
There's so many others. It sounds so good even to this day.
But this is why, when we're at our age now, we sit back and, we listen to those songs.
Yes.
And this is what life is about, because even what they listen to be their songs that they listen to when they
right.
You understand what I'm saying? This didn't start with us, and it was going to happen after us.
Right.
We didn't just make this stuff up.
Right.
This thing has been going on since the test of time, the beginning of the time. A lot of people don't know. I let my inhibition.
But she's going not tonight. But she's going to sing "Been So Long" by Anita Baker, because that was the Rapture album, is one of my favorite albums, and I boss baby.
We came here.
Yes,
long time coming.
Right.
I'm looking for
therapists, or talking about their problems, that you hinder it so much that you're gonna snap. Oh.
And I'm glad you touched on that. Myself, I have been in therapy for like 3-4 years, and it was like a breath of fresh air.
Right.
We have this notion of thinking that going to a therapist means you're going to a quack, or you're crazy. Like I said again, but therapy is very expensive.
Right.
Very expensive.
You mean okay? As far as the health coverage of it,
financially, the health coverage, and it's expensive because of you got to place value on your mental health.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? So that's an investment.
Right.
Okay. If you shortchange it or don't put investment in it, then you're lacking. You're stagnant. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I don't like to say this, but Caucasians, they start out with that. That's like a routine.
Right.
Like going to the doctor.
Right.
You to a therapist, because I can't talk to my mother, my sister, my brother, my other half, or whatever, about some things personal about me, for fear of it getting out. You know how people talk about your shit.
Right.
You invest in, you confide in people, and as soon as they get mad at you,
they want to throw shit up in your face.
Even if you just
that's
tell
why
them
you watch.
When you invest and you confide your innermost to someone,
right.
They should be honored that you even considered right. them to have all ears.
Sharing your inner soul.
And another thing that is a misnomer about therapy, they don't sit there and tell you what to do. You be talking most of the time yourself. Mm-hmm. You understand what I'm saying? They get things out of you that you have repressed. Mm-hmm. You understand what I'm saying? They put pieces to the puzzle, help you put pieces to your puzzle, because they don't know you. You have to tell them mm-hmm. about you. Right. You understand what I'm saying? They don't come in knowing who you are. You have to talk about you. Right. Going back to getting to know yourself. Right. Like the question, who are you? Right. Who are you? Mm-hmm. And the questions that we've asked before. Has anyone ever asked you a profound question about yourself? Right. Things like that. What do you want to do? What is your purpose? Right.
Sometimes everybody don't know their purpose, or I guess don't have a purpose, or you know what I think what defeats purpose? Wasted time. It's like, damn, now I can't find my purpose because time don't went past, so now the efforts come, the fuck it's come. Fuck it, I don't care.
That's like going to class when the teacher said, come on, let's start this. We starting the class, right, in the beginning of September.
Right.
Stay on point, stay on top. Don't wait until April.
Right.
Okay, to catch up on all the damn subjects
right.
and stuff. Because now you so far behind, you can't catch up, so
and I tell my kids that.
You're lost. Now you want to go to the next grade. Like I said before, the steps.
Mm-hmm.
How you gonna go to the second grade if you ain't completed the first grade?
Right.
You know. So there's
everything
missing.
can't be hand given to you all the time.
Take the
Not all the
time.
time.
You know, the things that we fought, what is it, Brown versus Board of Education.
Right.
Roe versus Wade,
Mm-hmm.
Ruby Bridges, you know, Martin Luther King. All of these people fought for the right for us to be able to do the things that we do. Voting, that's a big thing with me.
Right.
Oh, I won't vote because my vote don't matter. You not voting is even more.
Wait a minute, ma'am. I know that you told me many times leading up to this thing, I do not want to talk about Donald Trump. We're not, but we're talking about voting. And I didn't like Trump this time, regardless of what I felt about him with the Mike Tyson thing, helping him. But I just didn't like Joe Biden. So I stayed out
hold
of
that
voting.
question. Hold that. You say you don't like Joe Biden personally, or his?
I didn't like his
platform.
I didn't like his platform and his crime bills that put my brothers and sisters under the jail cell during the cocaine era.
Okay, so do you think that that's the only issue he's dealing with as the president? That
I do know that when Joe
Biden you ever thought about all the other things he has to deal with?
An awful lot, man. But I do know that the price of eggs went up during his tenure.
That's the economy. You got to think about it. Something happened with the damn birds, okay?
Right.
So with the chicken.
Right.
So the eggs was good, but the chicken, wasn't. That's why the chicken is so cheap.
That's right.
Some chicken wings was so pretty. It was $3 a damn change.
A pound.
Honey, I bought like 5 packs, and they was good, but you know that's called demand and supply. You got to learn about agriculture and things like that, and marketing and business. That's when all this stuff comes in.
Right.
You just look at what's presented to them. Do you really know from Alpha and the Omega? Right. Especially if you want to. This goes into like being a business. You know, being in business, you got to know all aspects of all of that. You know, you can't just pick and pinpoint what argument you want to debate or which issue you want to talk about.
Those chickens.
We know damn well chicken. I ain't had chicken wings in years. So expensive.
Right.
Now they cheap and they're little and pretty because they're killing these youngs before they. Those are the ones that didn't catch it. Right. But the eggs, you know what I'm saying? Either the little chicken or the egg. That's why the damn eggs are so expensive.
True indeed. Well, you know what? We're gonna wrap this show up, and I am so happy, Miss Bostic, that you came here today.
I was a little apprehensive, but I'm comfortable now.
And you know what? What the one thing that gets me with Miss Bostic, she used all those big words. You know that
part. Apprehensive is big because there's a lot of letters. When you say big words to me, apprehensive. It's no such thing as big words. You got to invent vocabulary. I can use a 3-letter word that has so much meaning.
You know what? It's that part in American Gangster when Frank Lucas goes to see Nicky Barnes and Cuba Gooding Jr. tells Denzel Washington, "Why you come up into my spot using all them big words?"
So there's no such as a big word, small minds.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Because like I said, I could say a word with 3 letters that's so profound.
Right.
To have you looking in the dictionary.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And on that note, peace out.
We'll be back.
We will be back. Thank you for tuning in to the Black Raspberry Radio Show. Peace.
That was great.
I'm hyped now.